So hello and welcome to Register on Track. My name is Tyler Hall. I use pronouns he, him, and I'm a student success advisor in the Bissett Student Success Center. And I'm so excited to welcome you to Dalhousie University and get you started on your journey to registering for your fall and winter courses. I'm sure lots of you have questions and hopefully this presentation is going to answer a lot of those. But I do want to let you know too, at the end of this presentation, you're not going to walk away with a complete schedule. This is the first step, but really emphasizing all the wonderful supports that DAL has to get you to June 12th, which is registration day. And so think of this as a very good step forward. I also want to start by acknowledging the land in which Dalhousie exists in. For some of you, land acknowledgements might not be something that you're familiar with, but in Canada, especially myself being a settler, it's really important to acknowledge what has come before us, especially given the recent historical events and uncoveries that have happened in Canada. It's really important to recognize that. And so Halifax is in Chibuktuk, or the Great Harbor, and Dalhousie University as well as part of Mi'kmaq, which is the unceded and ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. And we are all treaty people. And so whether you're Indigenous or a settler, or you're coming from abroad, it's really important to educate yourself on what that means and to engage in these dialogues and understand the historical context that may not have been taught to you. In addition to the Indigenous folks, we also have a really strong African Nova Scotian population in Nova Scotia, and recognizing the legacies and communities that have been here for over 200 years. You're coming to, whether you're coming from Halifax or you're coming from afar, Dalhousie, the city, it's such an exciting place to be and full of so many diverse opportunities, and we just want to welcome you. And so a little bit more about myself. I'm a student success advisor. So my goal is to help you, along with some other wonderful people in your faculty, to really succeed at Dalhousie University, no matter what program you're studying. And I originally did my Bachelor of Management at Dal, and then I did my Master's of Counseling at Acadia. I'm also a dancer. I teach in the city, but I also bake. It's been a really fun journey with my baking, and a little fun fact is I was actually a finalist in the audition process for the Great Canadian Baking Show. I didn't make it on, but I did get to the top 20. So a little fun fact about me, we're not all just about organizing your courses. We have lives outside too. And so the Bissett Student Success Center, I'm going to introduce you to some advisors that are really going to help support your academics, but we also have services for all students at DAL, including our career services and studying for success. So career services, career counseling, career planning, resume prep, workshops on interviews, all that great stuff, really good resources there. And those are available to all students at DAL. And then we also have our Studying for Success program. And so whether you're coming right from high school, another university, maybe you've taken some time off, learning how to succeed at DAL and how to study effectively can be really important. And so lots of workshops and one-on-one coaching sessions to help with time management, procrastination, note-taking, listening in a lecture. So make sure you're using this, and we're so happy to have it as a peer program. And so there are career services, and our Studying for Success is often staffed by peers. And so you're not only going to get really great information, but you're going to be able to connect with students who are living a Dalhousie experience as well. And so using the Bissett Student Success Center throughout your degree is a great idea, but also you want to use these amazing folks here. And we're lucky enough to have two of them, Heidi and Lindsay, if you just want to turn on your cameras and give a wave to the folks at home. So this is Lindsay Curry and Heidi Tracy Bailey. For any of you folks coming into the School of Health and Human Performance, so KIN, Health Promotion, Therapeutic Recreation, or Rec Management, these two lovely human beings are going to be supporting you throughout, and we're reaching out throughout your degree with lots of emails and events, and so make sure to recognize them. And then also, if you're joining us from one of our health science programs, I saw there was at least one in Rad Tech. Your main advisor to start off with is going to be, oh, sorry, my cat. This is Duncan. Say hello to the folks at home. Charmaine, back to the matter at hand, is going to be a great first triaging point. And then once you're in the program, every discipline in health science has a specific advisor who they'll connect you to. And then for our nursing folks, there's some of those on the call as well. Teresa Gilbert is going to be your main contact. And so you might be furiously scribbling this down, but I am going to send an email out to all registrants of this event with all these contact info. And so don't hesitate to reach out to them if you do have any questions. And so to start off, before we jump in, we just want to welcome you officially to DAL. And we have a little video from my team to you.
Welcome to DAL. We're so glad you're here.
I know it's been an interesting time, but we're really excited to welcome you not only virtually, but officially back onto campus. And there's so many exciting things to get ready for. And with your course registration, it's time to start thinking about that. You know, what are you most excited about? What challenges are you anticipating? And how do you make the best out of your DAL degree? When you're choosing your courses and building your schedule, all of these things need to fit into that, because you know, you want to make sure you're balancing your work and your life together. And so starting to think about all this stuff, getting ready for the fall, it's an exciting time. And so making sure you're just thinking this through and connecting with advisors to make the best out of your situation. And not only are you joining Dalhousie University, but you're joining the Faculty of Health. And I'm so glad to introduce Brenda Merritt, who is the Dean of the Faculty, to provide some words of welcome. So Brenda, it's all over to you.
Great. Thank you, Tyler. It is so exciting to be here and seeing, you know, where the incoming students are from and the programs that you're joining. Yeah, it's just an exciting time. You know, for me, thinking about getting back on campus and feeling the buzz of our health campus and down by Dalplex, where our Health and Human Performance School is exciting. I know it's going to be a bit of a transition for us all to get out of our homes. But we're really looking forward to welcoming the next group of students onto campus. I think, you know, I was pondering, you know, welcoming our incoming students, and was thinking about this pandemic. And I don't think there's ever been a time in history where we have needed health professionals and health researchers more than we do now. And, you know, thinking about our kinesiology and therapeutic rec and rec management, this pandemic is absolutely solidified for me. And I think the population of how important movement and exercise and recreation are for promoting our health. And especially when we go into these lockdown situations, I don't think I've seen so many people out walking and hiking before. It's just great to see. And I think we can carry this information forward into our programming and how we continue to serve our communities to promote their health. Also, you'll see here one of our nurses here in Halifax on the screen was an alumni for us and was at one of the first testing sites way back probably about a year ago. And we've kept up with her, and I think she has transitioned to working through public health and doing some contact tracing. And then I was just on the phone with the director of the School of Health Sciences and talking about what's going on in the school, and you know, just this resurgence of our workforce needs for respiratory therapy, rad tech, medical ultrasound, and those programs. It's just growing exponentially of the needs we have in our community. And our students here online are answering that call, and just so excited to welcome you. The last program, Health Promotion, I think, again, this pandemic has shown us that the way we care for ourselves and our communities and help seek to promote health is vital. So I see this as being a really thriving program and profession going forward. Maybe just a hint about me before, you know, because I know I don't get to interact that much with the students, but I am an occupational therapist by training, and have primarily worked in acute care. And I just said, there's no better job. There is no better job for me than working in healthcare. And when you start your day and end your day just as excited and energized, I think it's a good sign you're in a great profession. I want to thank Heidi and Lindsay for being here today, because I know that they are going to be able to help answer your questions, and they are really great contacts for our students coming into Health and Human Performance. But I don't want to take up too much more time. I want to leave it to the question and answers and get the information that our incoming students need. And I will turn it back over to Tyler.
Thank you so much, Brenda. I think you hit the nail right on the head. So much exciting stuff happening in this sector, and especially in the faculty. And so you're all in for a real treat coming here in the fall. And so in addition to welcoming you to the university, also just the campus and getting that student perspective. And although I was a Dal student, it's been a minute since I was officially a student at Dal. And so I'd love to invite Eniola up now just to talk a little bit about their experiences here at Dal.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eniola, Eniola Bakare. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm a recent graduate of the Dalhousie University from the Bachelor of Science in Statistics, so not health, but I do know lots of health students, so they're amazing. I've been involved in multiple societies on campus and also into residence councils. I've also been a tour guide, so you might have seen me on one of your tours last year and 2 years ago. I was also a student mentor for Together at Dal last year and also this semester, or I should say last semester. Yeah, and currently I'm a peer advisor at the Business Student Success Center, where I work with Tyler. He's very amazing. He's an amazing person, and it's been close to 2 years now. My favorite course, as you can tell from my major, is Stats 1060, which is Intro to Statistics. I really enjoyed it, and I'm so happy that I chose stats as my major. An advice I could give for incoming students is to check your Dal email. I can't overemphasize this enough. You'll be getting lots of information through your Dal email, closer to registration and even after registration. Also to get involved and get engaged in all the events happening online and even on campus. I would just want to share a little bit about the Dalhousie community and culture. So we have societies, events, leadership, research, culture of respect, on-campus employment, and also volunteer opportunities. So the ones that I will pick out are societies and on-campus employment, because I'm a current part-time student, part-time worker at Dalhousie. So societies, we have over 400 clubs and societies for students to choose from, and there's no limit to how many you could be a part of. So if you can't find the right fit for you, you can always start your own society or your own club. So I was a member of the Science Society, the Math and Stats Society, also the Atlantic Association of Black Aspiring Physicians. For on-campus employment, Dalhousie offers different employment opportunities on campus to help students foster their abilities and their skills, also for financial security, while ensuring that the main reason why you're at Dalhousie is the top priority, right? So your academics. Like I mentioned, I'm a current peer advisor at the Business Student Success Center for close to 2 years now. So I'm helping students during the summer months with registry for courses. So please reach out and I will be able to help, or one of my colleagues will be able to help. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eniola. It's been so great having you as part of our team. And it is really important for you folks to connect with peers because they have so much great insight that folks like myself, for Heidi or Lindsay, may not have. I do not use TikTok. I don't know what it is, but our current students are a great way for you to really stay connected and engaged in the campus culture. And so let's start diving into registration. And before you even get started, this is going to be your main source of information. Everything I'm going to talk about today is all on this website, dal.ca/registration. Easy to remember. And so I'm going to take you on a little tour. This is it here. And so there's some quick links at the top that just explain a lot of terms you might hear, but it's really broken down into 4 steps. This presentation is going to go through those 4 different steps. And there is a 3 to 4 minute video on all 4 of those steps. And so hopefully if things today don't necessarily click, head back here. If you go to the Registrar on Track website, your recording is going to be here shortly after. And we're also doing some Ask Me Anything events, which I'll talk about later. So make sure to register for those if you do need any more support. But dal.ca/registration, it's going to be your go-to for all questions registration. So before you begin, step 1, if you opened up step 1, it would say you need to pay your $200 admissions deposit. And so this is basically confirming your seat in the program. And without doing this, you're not officially a dal student, and so you won't be able to register for courses. And so that's really important to do. You also need to activate your net ID and password. And so it's the first 2 letters of your name, excluding vowels, and then 6 letters after, or 6 numbers after. And so this is going to be how you log in to Dal Online, which is where you're going to register for courses and also basically live your whole university degree with that in Brightspace. And you'll learn all about that later on in the presentation. Setting up your Dalhousie email, Eniola said it perfectly. Such a top tip to really make sure you're checking that, because not only the university and Heidi and Lindsay, but a lot of other community events and stuff are going to come through there. And so you don't want to miss out. If you don't check your Dal email regularly, get it forwarded to an email you do check, and then you're always in the loop. If you're curious about dates, it's always good to just bookmark the important dates page. So when school starts, exams, holidays, especially if you're not from Nova Scotia, we have different holidays than other provinces do. And so it's always great just to know when you have to go to school. Also reviewing the new student checklist, which we're going to plug at the end too, to really get you prepared to be a Dal student. And so step 2 of the registration process, step 4 of our agenda, is find your courses. And so all of you folks are in health, and so health is probably of interest to you, but a lot of our programs have opportunities for you to take electives, and an elective is an opportunity to take a course that is not in your program. And so you might be a nurse or a future nurse and interested in nursing, but what else interests you? Maybe you want to take a drama class, maybe you want to take a business course. Also thinking about what kind of learner are you, right? How many courses do you have in a semester? And figuring out what workloads look like for you. And thinking about how do you want to structure your day? And these are all conversations that you don't have to have alone. Folks like Heidi and Lindsay, Teresa, Charmaine, we're all here to help support you just through this journey. And so just really thinking about your schedule as a whole. Also, I do like to talk about 2 different terms that get thrown around a lot. Welcome to university, a endless world of terms. And so finding out what everything means can be a little bit tricky, but one that students get confused of is full-time versus full course load. Courses at Dal are arranged in credit hours. Most courses are going to be 3 credit hours. And so if you're a full-time student, that means you're enrolled in 9 credit hours or more. And if each one is 3, 9 divided by 3, a little math lesson for you, that's roughly 3 courses. And so that makes you a full-time student. And some scholarships, student loans, study visas might require you to be a full-time student. And so that means you need to have 9 credit hours or more. Full course load is the maximum amount of courses you can take in a semester. And so a course load can be any amount from 0 to 15 credit hours, but a full course load would be 15 credit hours or 5 courses. Again, visas, scholarships, those might require you to have a full course load. And so this is another thing to keep in mind. So full-time, full course load, they sound very similar, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of what the difference is. And if you're still not sure, definitely connecting in with your advisors to really help understand, what do you need? Do you need full-time? Do you need full course load? And how does that all work? But these planning sheets are going to be how you really come to understand what is required. And so let's go to dal.ca/registration. We'll open up step 2, and it says you need to use our course planning worksheets. So we open this up and you'll see there's one specifically for the School of Health and Human Performance, the School of Health Sciences, and the School of Nursing. And so let's just open up the nursing one first. We'll do the Halifax campus, but there is a second one for Yarmouth. And if we open this up, this says what courses you need to take. And so you'll see it's fall and winter. Remember, you're going to be registering for your whole academic year in fall and winter, all on June 12th. And so this sheet helps you do that. And so some courses are required, like physiology, anatomy, English, Health and Human Performance 2000, which is recommended, or you can take an elective and you have a space for an elective here. And there's a handy little note. These can be any courses of your choice for which you're permitted to register. And they really do want to point out which you're permitted. I had a student the other day, I was like, courses, any course at Dal. And they're like, ooh, I want to take like a 6,000 level law course. And I was like, oh, maybe I should reel her back in. So it's any course at Dal that you're able to register for. Courses at Dal are always in 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, etc. The lower the number, the more introduction of classes. And so it doesn't mean you can only take 1,000s in your first year. It just means that would be an intro level. 2,000 would be a little bit more. And so just thinking about when you're looking at your courses for electives, take it easy your first year, look in the 1,000 level range. That's going to make sure you have a nice introduction. I also want to point out this right here, interprofessional health education. And so if you're like, okay, 3 credit hours, 6, 9, 12, 15, what is this? It's more than a full course load. Well, this has 0.00 at the end, and these all have 0.03s. That says how many credit hours they are. And this interprofessional health education is a 0 credit hour course. And so it's not something you're going to have every week. But what it does is it allows all of the different health professions to get together throughout the semester, and they have lots of really great events, lots of opportunities to share common learnings across the faculty. And so it's an opportunity for you to engage in health discussions that are bigger than your that are bigger than your program. And so it's a great opportunity to really work collaboratively, and you'll get lots more information on that as you come to Dal. But just know you do need to register for this too. This is what's called a co-requisite, which means you can't register for your other courses unless you register for this. And so if you're doing the School of Nursing on the Halifax campus, you're going to register for lecture section 4. And I'll get into what all that means. You'll also notice it's in the winter, so make sure that's there. Number one common error for health students is not registering for this. It's 0 credit hours, which means it's also not something that you're charged for. And so don't think of it as an extra class, just think of it as an extra thing you need to register for, and some really exciting opportunities down the road. And so let's just have a look at another one. So we'll go to health and human performance, and I saw some kin students in the crowd, so we'll open up kin. Very similar, except instead of in kin, instead of having an open elective, it's specifically in science, and kin has a really great little chart. So these are the options for the fall. These are the options for the winter. And there she be again, interprofessional health education, but this one's section 2 instead of section 4. But again, register for this like you would a course, but when the semester begins, you don't attend the lecture. More details will be provided to students coming soon. So this would be for a kin student. And again, you've got Heidi and Lindsay's emails right here. And so if you do run into problems, you're not alone. This is not the only time someone's going to help you with course registration. There's so many opportunities ahead. And so I just wanted to spend some time walking through that. It lists all your required courses, ask advisors any questions, and they all live on dal.ca/registration. And so you've paid your deposit, you've set up your net ID, you've looked at your course planning worksheet, and you have an idea of what you need to register for. Now you actually need to create your schedule. And so this is when you're actually picking days and times when you're going to go to class. And so this is when you might have a little bit of choice, you know, when do you want to go to class? What time do you learn best? Do you want your courses back to back? Do you have time for dinner or lunch? Also, there's some online options. Now, most of our courses will be offered on campus, but there will be some online. And so there's asynchronous and synchronous, and I'll talk about what those words mean. And CRNs, lectures, labs, well, again, more terms. So let's break that down a little. So a lecture is generally what you think of when you think of a university class. They're generally in an auditorium, they're led by a professor, and it's more listening, taking notes, and just kind of getting the information. These are usually the biggest sections of your course. Now, a lab will be part of your course, but it'll be a subsection. And so smaller groups, more hands-on learning. If you think of chemistry, you know, you're gonna sit in a lecture hall and learn about organic chem, I didn't do chemistry. Stoichiometry, I remember that, some kind of chem math. And then you're gonna like go into the lab and actually perform experiments to test that. And so labs, kind of what you think of as a lab in high school. the safety goggles and all that good stuff. Tutorials are more for our humanities, social sciences, and discussion-based courses. And instead of doing experiments, this is more an opportunity for you to discuss in small groups the material, work through assignments or any problems. And both of these are run by a teaching assistant, or a TA, another term for you. And these are usually upper year students, and they're here to support the professor in the teaching, and they're really helpful. They have a lot of great insight to offer on how to succeed. And so not only do you have your advisors in the Bissett Center, you've got professors and teaching assistants all here to help you get through your first year at Dal. So the timetable, there's a lot here, but we're going to break it down step by step. And so dal.ca/registration. Now we're on step 3, we're creating our schedule. And again, all of these are in videos. So video 3 matches with step 3. So any of this stuff, if you forget it, come back. But we'll have a look at the academic timetable. There's a lot of words on here. But the big thing you want to know is the best way to ensure you're seeing all courses is to use all under location, because some will be online, some will be on campus. Making sure your location is set to all allows you to see everything. And because you're going to be registering for fall and winter, you can either do your fall first and then your winter, or you can choose both. And so let's have a look at the timetable. And so let's say you've opened up your program worksheet and you say, okay, I need kinesiology 1104. So if you're looking at the list, kinesiology 1104, well, that lives in kinesiology. And you're looking for 1104. Oh, here, 1102, 1104, here it is right here. And so this gives you all the days and times of that course. Let me break down what all of these columns mean. So the first thing is notes. You want to make sure that you've checked if there's an R here. The R means it's restricted to only certain types of students. So if we open it up, this class is restricted to students in kinesiology. So any of you nursing students out there, if you're like, ooh, I'd like to take a kin class as one of my electives, well, it's only for kin students. And so you would get an error message on registration day. So you want to make sure that you've checked what the R is. And then there's a note too. Any student not in kinesiology who wishes to speak entering this course may check on January 5th. Now, this is a winter course, you can tell right here. So that's why it says January 5th. Whereas this course, even though it's in the fall, it does not have that option. And so you just want to make sure you're checking the notes. Then you've got the section number. And so the rule is you need to choose one of every section type, or I like to say one of every color. And so you'll see there's one and then all these labs here. So LEC stands for lecture, lab stands for lab. And these have a B because T was taken by tutorial and L was taken by lecture. So we put a B there so you didn't get confused. So B01 just means lab section 1. And so you would choose one lecture. Now there's only one option. So if you're taking this course, it has to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11:35 to 12:55. But for your lab, you've got some choices. And so do you want it Mondays at 1:05, 10:05, 11:35, 2:35? You also need to get used to the 24-hour clock if that's new to you as well. That is how you sort of pick when your days are, when your times are. The location is going to be really important, especially for our health students. You folks are often going between 2 different campuses. And so there's the Studley campus and there's the Carleton campus. They're fairly close together. And so sometimes you might have a class that's back to back that you have to take and there's no choice. That you might have you going from Studley to Carleton. You'll be able to make it, because they're required courses. That's going to happen. But if you do have the option, leaving at least half an hour in between courses between Studley and Carleton just makes it a little more relaxing. If it's Studley to Studley, you can totally have them back to back. There's enough travel time built in. And so just keep in mind, we have Studley, Carleton, and Sexton campuses on our Halifax campus. And so when you're scheduling your courses, trying to keep your campus courses together is useful, but sometimes you have to, there's literally no other option, but everyone else in your program will be making that journey too. And so don't stress out if you do have to go from one to the other back to back. Dal, although being a large university, it's all very nice and close together in the heart of Halifax. And so it'll say the location, the campus first, and then the building. And so this one's in the Killam Library, this one's in the Dalplex. And so you'll get to learn more where these buildings are once you're on campus. It says the maximum amount of students. And so the class is 150 people large, but the labs are all 16, 17. So that gives you that smaller hands-on experience. There's 0 people registered because it's not open yet. There's there's 150 seats, 0% full. And then this says who the staff will be teaching the course. The last thing I want to point out is the credit hours and the CRN numbers. And so the credit hours, you can see that the lecture is 3 credit hours, but you'll notice the lab is 0. And so again, when we're thinking of that full course load, some people are like, oh my God, I have lectures and labs. Well, the labs don't count towards that number. You still have to register for them, just like IPHE, but just know they're not counting towards that. And then this CRN number here, this is what you actually need to register on June 12th. And so from now until June 12th, you can go through your program worksheet and start picking out those courses. So if you wanted your lab at 2:35 in the winter semester on Mondays, you would make sure to type in 21542. For kinesiology, this one's a fall course. If you wanted to do the 10 o'clock lab, you would do 11658. A good trick to remember fall and winter, fall CRNs, I'll start with a 1, winter CNs start with a 2. So if you are doing fall and winter at the same time, that's a good way to plan it. Or if you find that way too confusing, just change your term to the fall, and then you can just focus on your fall classes here. And so that's a way to schedule it too. And so going through the timetable, making those course choices, all that good stuff. Now, when it comes to electives or maybe required courses, you want to learn more about them. They all have course descriptions. And so this little triangle button right here, if you open it up, it's going to tell you what the course is about. It's going to talk about the format, how many labs per week. This is that co-requisite I mentioned, that IPHE. So again, if you do not register for IPHE, you will not be allowed to register for this course. And it also mentions the restrictions that it's restricted to kin students. If you're looking at an upper year course here, you might notice that it has a co-requisite, but also a prerequisite. A prerequisite, another term for you, means that you can't take this class until you've taken these classes. And again, if you're following your program worksheet, your departments have done a really great job. Oh, I just noticed my kitty. This is Juno. I didn't even notice her pop back there. That's my other cat. But if you follow the program worksheet, they've done a really great job to make sure that you have the prerequisites to go into the next year. And so they've got you covered. Trust me, you're in very, very good hands. And so that's a little view of the timetable. I know that was quick, but we talked about restrictions, those course reference numbers, the credit hours, how to find the course description, days, times, locations, enrollment, professors, and then also you can use this to toggle between departments. And so when you're looking at electives, really go exploring, you're on the timetable and just say, okay, what am I interested in? Oh, history, that sounds cool. Well, let's look at what the history offers. So there's Europe before the French Revolution, there's comparative global history, there's first year seminars. These are when the notes are important because this one's about Queen Elizabeth, but this section's about Kwame Nkrumah. So it's really important to read those notes. And if you open it up, well, can I take this course? There's no prerequisites. Now, sometimes you might see exclusions. Exclusions mean if you've taken this course, you can't get credit for the other course. And so you just want to make sure if you wanted to take 1501, you just want to make sure you haven't taken 1503 before. And that's because the courses are too similar. You'll find this with anatomy. There's anatomy 1010 and anatomy 1020. They're too close together. And so you can't get credit for both. And so just make sure that you're checking that. And one last thing I want to talk about is cross listings. Sometimes you'll see underneath that there's these course equivalents. And so if you open up, it says the cross listings here. That just means it's shared with a second department. And so this is going to be about history, but it's also going to be about Russian studies too. And it just gives you an idea of what you're getting into. Also, if one section is full, try the other one and see if there's space there because there's 20 extra seats in this section. And so lots of information to take in. but we've talked about the course descriptions. We looked at cross listings. We looked at prerequisites. We looked at exclusions. But those program worksheets are really laid out in a way to make sure you're taking the right courses. And so this is just a second thing to check as you're building your schedule. We also have some online courses. So I did mention most of our courses will be on campus, but if they are online, they'll either be synchronous, asynchronous, or a combination. Synchronous means it happens at a specific day and time, and you have to log in and be on your computer at that day and time. Asynchronous is study as you go. There's usually recorded lectures. And so that provides a lot more flexibility, specifically if you're not able to come to Canada and you're looking to do a few courses. Combination, some have both. And so let's look at some examples. This one you can see is asynchronous. It has no days and times. This one is synchronous and has days and times. Sometimes the combined ones can be done in a couple ways. So you can see this one is asynchronous, but on September 10th, October 8th, November 5th, and December 3rd, it has a synchronous component. Whereas this one, the lecture is asynchronous, but the tutorials, TUT, are synchronous. And so just making sure you understand what those mean. But to build all of this together, we've got this handy blank timetable. It's on dal.ca/registration, and I'm going to send it to you after the presentation as well. But this allows you to input all of your courses, but also at the bottom, track all your CRNs. And remember, you need it for every part of the course. And so the lecture, lab, or tutorial, sometimes there's just a lecture, sometimes there's two. Very rarely there's a lecture, lab, and tutorial, but if it's there, you want to make sure you have all the parts. Otherwise, you're going to get an error on registration day. And so work on this now. And then on June 12th, this is the only piece of paper you'll need to register for classes, our final step. And so you want to make sure you've activated your NetID and your password, and that you've gone on and checked your registration status. I'm going to show you how to do that. You've created a schedule that works for you, and you've recorded all your CRN numbers. These are the things you need to do now. To check your registration, you're going to go to DAL Online. This is our main software to use for registration. And so you need to have that NetID and password, or you can't log in. You're going to go to Web for Students. You're going to hit registration, and you can actually do this today. And I recommend doing it sooner than later. You want to prepare for registration. So even though you can't register until June 12th, you can prepare today. And so you'll hit prepare for registration, and you'll choose the fall term of 2021-2022 and hit continue. You should see 3 green check marks and a red exclamation mark. So your student status, that means you've paid your deposit. Your academic standing is based on your GPA, and because you're not a DAL student yet, that should be good. And you have no hold. So this makes sure you don't have any outstanding fees. And again, because you're a new student, that should be good too. The time ticket does not allow registration. Well, that's because it's not opened yet. Please register during these times. And so June 12th at 12 p.m. And so once June 12th hits, you don't need to do this again. Do this now. And if it's all green check marks and the exclamation mark, you're good to go. On registration day, you're going to hit registration, register for classes, choose the fall term first, and then you're going to enter your CRN numbers. And so when you log in, it's going to show the Find Classes tab opened. You've already found your classes. You've spent all of this time and effort going through the calendar, getting your CRNs. So don't find your classes again, just go to enter CRNs. And you need to create one box for every CRN number. And so remember, you need your lectures, your labs, tutorials, and IPHE 4900. Don't forget that, because if you're missing any of those, when you hit add to summary, you're gonna get some jumbled stuff. But hopefully they all come up as pending. You'll see all the courses, and if everything looks good, hit submit. Hopefully they all come back as registered, but you might see some error messages. So one of them could be linked class missing. That's because you're missing your tutorial. Another one could say missing required course or grade. That's probably because you forgot IPHE 4900. Because remember, if you don't have it, the computer thinks that you're missing that course. This is pretty rare for first year, but sometimes a wait list can fill. If the wait list is full and it's a required course, definitely reach out to your advisors for some support. But generally what you'll see if a course fills is there will be a wait list. And so it'll say what number you're on the wait list. And to add yourself, you're just going to take the drop-down menu, choose waitlist, hit submit, and it'll come back as waitlisted. If this is a required course for your program, make sure you're checking in with your advisor so they can let you know what the process is. If it's an elective, it might be good to have a backup just in case you don't get off the wait list, because electives, the space is never guaranteed because it's not required, but the first year courses, some of them are needed. And so that's why your advisors are going to be a really key part in that. And then you want to check your schedule. So the big thing is you want to make sure you're not in two places at the same time, because that's not going to work out for you very well. And so just checking, making sure all your courses are there. And then don't forget you have to do winter. And so you're going to, at the top of the menu, you're just going to hit select term. You're going to choose winter, and then you're going to do all the CRNs for your winter term. And again, just remember, fall CRNs start with a 1, winter CRNs start with a 2. And that, my friends, is how to register for courses. And so if you need any more support, there's a great help button. And all of these things I talked about are in these handy little videos. And so don't hesitate to watch those if you need support. But also there's other ways to support you through university. And I'm going to invite Eniola back up just to talk about some of the ways that you can get some support as a student outside of your academics.
Hi guys, hi friends. All right, so first up we have financial services, and their information is outwards at dal.ca, so that's their email. So if you have any inquiries about scholarship or bursary funding, you definitely want to direct all of it to the financial services. Also questions about loans or creating a budget, how to connect you with people to assist you with money problems, definitely want to reach out to financial services. Next slide, Tyler. Thank you. All right. The Visit Student Success Center, which is where I work, we have academic advising for degree planning, course selection, and also goal setting. So our email is advising@dal.ca. For careers, you can always reach out to career.services@dal.ca, and you'll be meeting with one of the peer advisors. And if you wanted to speak with like a career advisor to talk about all your long-term career goals or career counselor, you can always reach out to us. And last but not least, we have the study skills coach to help you with all like study skills about how to take probably multiple choice exams, or even studying, managing your time properly to help you achieve success. And the Student Accessibility Center is a great resource for all students to utilize. So if you want to gain access to assistive technology and even exam accommodations, speaking to an advisor about how your accessibility needs can be met, and they will just help you with all disability related funding and connect you with students resources on and off campus. And the International Center for all our international friends, and also to learn about the Dalhousie exchange and study abroad opportunities. A friend of mine who's in the Faculty of Health did kinesiology. She went to the University of Bath in the UK, and so she had to contact the International Center. So everything about immigration, student visa, filing taxes, English as a second language support, connecting with the international community on campus and off campus, you definitely want to reach out to the International Center for that. The Black Student Advising Center will provide all support and services to Black students or students of African descent. So advising, advocacy, and mentorship. There are also tons of societies and community groups that you can be a part of. There are events that are held like almost every couple months in the year, and that students can always attend and engage in. The Indigenous Center. So we want to connect with our advisors at the Indigenous Center to provide support and advocacy for all Indigenous students. Please reach out to the Indigenous Center. They also have lots of events and activities that they promote throughout the year that you can always attend. And the Dial Bookstore. So it's a great resource to find all the required textbooks and course materials for each of your courses. It is located in the Student Union building, but the Dial Bookstore is their handle on Instagram for you to reach out to them, and they can answer all of your inquiries. on, maybe you're living on campus, how would you get your stuff on campus, your essentials, school supplies, even Dow clothing. And the Health and Wellness Center is an amazing resource for students to definitely please utilize. Their phone number is always like a phone call away, if I could say. So we have lots of amazing healthcare professionals that can help with counseling or with making appointments, social workers, prescriptions and testing. Lots of resources at the Health and Wellness Center. You should definitely check out. And the Dial mobile app. So it's a great community app that students have access to. You can meet your classmates, ask questions, connect on campus. And also I will be one of the peers that will be supporting on the app. So please say hi. And I encourage you to join the incoming Halifax class of 2021-2022 channel. So all incoming students you can always like post your questions in there, and one of the peer advisors will answer you, or one of the faculty leaders will answer you. But yeah. And the Visit Student Success Center. These are our all our information. So we have a Facebook page and Instagram and also Twitter. Please connect with us. We post lots of resources. And just a side note, we're actually running a campaign or a contest this period. So please check us out on Instagram, dal.BSSC. You can win a Dal hoodie, I believe is what it is, or a gift card. I'm not sure. I'll keep you in suspense. All right, Together a Dal. So if you want to meet with other upper year students and learn about their program, their journey, and to get involved with like lots of amazing events, develop your skills about university and get connected to the Dalhousie University. It's an online program that all incoming students are qualified to apply for, and you just get tips on how to succeed at Dow from someone who's been in your shoes. And these are the days that it's being offered. I encourage you to take a picture of this screen right now so you know what days. I think there's one coming up in a week time on June 8th in the evening. And you can just get familiar with people, meet other people. It's this virtual speed friending session happening all Tuesdays in June. And if you have any questions, please reach out to together.ca.
Amazing.
Yay.
Thank you so much, Eniola. And so the big message that I always love to give new students is, yes, there's a lot to know. There's a lot going on here, but you've got such an amazing team from advisors to all the different supports on campus. We're really just here to support you. And so reaching out, making sure you're connecting. We can't help you if we don't know what you need. And so this is the first step. You've made the first step of contact, which is great. And I know there's a lot of different stuff there, but I do want to point out it's all in one place. And so if you go to dal.ca and you click on this little button up here, not a lot of students see it. It is a little small, current students. It gives you all of the things that Eniola mentioned, plus so many more. And so making sure you're using those resources because they're there for you. They're included in your tuition and fees. And so using them is the best thing you can do. And so June 12th is when registration opens. And so again, it's just when registration opens. We definitely encourage you to try to register on June 12th. Things happen and things might change over the summer. And so you can technically make changes to your record all the way up until the second week of September for fall and the second week of January for winter. But June 12th is when most students register, and your programs have quite a lot of folks in them. And so to make sure you get the lab time that you want, registering right at 12 p.m. is the best thing to do. It is a Saturday, and the visit's actually going to be available by phone and email for general questions. And so although we're not your primary advisors, you know, I've been around for a while, and so we can answer a lot of general questions, especially if you're getting any like weird error messages or things like that. And so I'll be sending out the links to our contact. Phone is always best. We will have folks monitoring the email, but phone is really the best way to get in contact with us on that day. We recognize some folks aren't able to call, and so definitely use email, but we want to try to reserve email for folks who need to use email. Making sure that you've paid that deposit and you've activated your NetID and password. I think I've said that 100 times, but those are really important dates and reminders. The registrar's office is also going to be opened on that day. And so that term also might be new to you, but they handle a lot of the troubleshooting stuff. And so although advisors are great to provide advice, we don't have access into the nitty-gritty back end of your student record. And so any troubleshooting errors that you need help with, the registrar's office is going to be your best bet. And so that's going to be the phone numbers there. Again, they do have email. It's not going to be as quick. It might even be a couple days. And so try to only use email if you have no other way. Also, admissions is in there, awards and financial aid, transfer credits. And so any questions you have about those, that would be where you go to the registrar's office as opposed to the BISSET or your advisors and your faculty. I already mentioned this at the beginning, dal.ca/new students, checklist, tips. Obviously, registration is part of becoming a new student, but orientation together at DAL, all of this information is going to be there. And so making sure you bookmarked this. And our on-track programs. And so you might see stuff throughout the year. You're already doing Register on Track, and you might see some more about back on track and stay on track. And so keep an eye. These are supports to really help you succeed at DAL. And one more event that's coming up, if, you know, it's great that you tuned in today, but you might have some more questions down the road. We're actually doing some Ask Me Anythings, which are just going to be a casual chat where folks can tune in and ask me anything about registration. And so we're doing one on Thursday and then 2 next week. Registration's on our website, dal.ca/on-track, and then registration or register on track, it's all there. And again, 100%, we are here for you, and just make sure you reach out. So again, I'm going to send out the registration or the link to the recording in case you tuned in late or you're not here at all. And then also how to get in contact with your advisors in the different faculties. And then Lucas, if you wouldn't mind in the chat, just posting a survey. We'd love to know if this session was useful, if you're feeling excited about DAL and the fall semester. And so we're doing a draw for a $50 bookstore card, and it takes like 30 seconds. It's like 3 multiple choice questions and a fill in the blank if you want. And so highly encourage you to do that. And it really just helps us tailor these sessions to make sure that future groups get the best that they can. And so we do have a few minutes left. And so I know our Q&A folks have been furiously answering throughout, but Lucas, if you wanted to just, were there any ones that stuck out that a lot of people might need to know, or some that are outstanding?
Absolutely, yeah. There's some common questions here. For one, we have a lot of questions concerning courses that have the same name but different numbers attached. So, for instance, a course that, let's say, Psychology 1001 and 1011. Another example would be, let me see it down here. Or sorry, that was Physiology 1001.
Totally.
And similar, yeah, Physiology 1031 or 1032, and so on and so forth.
Those are great questions. So generally one refers to an in-person section and one refers to an online. And so if you're not sure which is best for you, it's always good to check in with your advisors. But let's just start with Psychology. Oopsies. We'll go to the timetable here. And so you'll see we've got Intro to Psych 1, Intro to Psych 2. And so 1031 and 1032 aren't actually being offered in the fall and winter.
No, yeah, sorry, I meant to say Physiology.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Let's go to Physiology. Dun, 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 dun. Perfect. So yeah, you've got Human Physiology 1, Human Physiology 1. And so the big difference here is these ones are going to be 100% online, whereas Physiology 1011 and 1012 will have in-person tutorials. And so that's the big difference there. Now on your course planning sheet, it might suggest only one of them. They're actually course equivalents. And so I'm glad folks have brought this up. And so if you're thinking about taking the online only version, then that's something to talk to your advisor about, just to make sure that it is transferable. They are the same course. It's just one is completely online, whereas this one, it has the online asynchronous. So this is actually a good example of the combination. So it has asynchronous, but then on October 7th and November 4th, there's going to be synchronous exams. And then the tutorials are going to be in person. So there's a lot going on there. So great question. I'm glad you brought that up, Lucas. Hopefully that helped answer. But if you're unsure of which course is right for you, just reach out to your advisor to make sure.
Another common question, if you could just reiterate the when course registration opens up, both for returning students, transfer students, and for first-time students.
Yeah, for sure. So this session is primarily designed for first year students. And so that's why I've been saying June 12th like 1,000 times. So June 12th at 12 p.m. But Lucas did mention there might be some transfer students or returning students. And so those you actually get to register slightly earlier to find out when exactly, because those dates are different depending on when you registered, and you'll have a different time. If you actually do that prepare for registration that I talked about before. And so right after this call, let's just reverse. You're just going to go to prepare for registration, check the fall, and your time will be right here. And so this is an example of a brand new student with no transfer credits. They're June 12th at 12 p.m. But if you are returning or transferring in, you might have a slightly different date. And so that will give you the answer every single time.
Speaking of the fall, and again, this would be reiterating, but when is the last date you can make changes to your schedule in the fall, or when can you make changes to your schedule?
Yeah, for sure. So there's always something called the add drop date, and it's always kind of the second week in September. I'm just going to get so this is the academic calendar. This can be a little bit of an intimidating document to use, so I don't normally bring it up as a first year student, but it is where we have all of our academic dates. And so you just have to consult the chart. So for fall, if you're doing a regular class from September 7th to December 7th, September 17th is the last day to add classes or drop without any financial implications. And so September 17th, you've got lots of time, but always try to register early and have conversations with your advisors over the summer, because that's when we can make these changes. The closer you get to the fall, the more full classes will be and the less flexibility they are. And then maybe Lucas will do one more so that we can end right on time. Now, if your question wasn't answered today, there are more folks to help you. And so that email I'm going to be sending out will have Heidi and Lindsay's email, as well as Charmaine and Teresa in nursing. And so if it wasn't answered, I'm sorry, but there's more folks to help you. But Lucas, throw the last one, make it a
yes. So I'll quickly answer one, which was when is tuition due? And that would be this semester's tuition is due on September 17th. So that'll get that one out of the way. And then the final question would be, will the registration program tell you if you've accidentally scheduled 2 classes at the same time?
Yeah, it will. Like, in a way, it's not going to be like, hey, Sarah, you've registered for 2 classes at the same time. But let me just open up my PowerPoint again. Where did that go? Here it is. When you go, here it is. When you go and look on your schedule, you can see that they overlap. And so you have to look, but that's how you'll know if you've registered for 2 classes at the same time. But that's why it's so good to use this blank timetable while you're making your schedule, just so you ensure you don't do that. Now, mistakes happen all the time. And so, it's never perfect, but it does give you a good kind of guideline to do that with. And so we're at 3 o'clock right on the dot. So I know we've got a lot of folks who have other meetings at DAL, and then I'm sure you folks have lots of stuff on your own plate, but thank you from the bottom of our hearts. If everyone wants to turn on their videos, just give a little wave. We're so excited to have you coming here in the fall, and please reach out. Don't hesitate to contact us if there's anything else you need. And so from all of us here, thank you again to all my Q&A warriors who've been furiously pedaling in the back. I appreciate it. And we can't wait to see you all in the fall. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.